Hi, this is Steve Blue for Sabado Nights. Umpisahan na po natin ang Sabado Nights with Steve Blue Europe Edition. Let's go! Another day around London. Today, we're at the British Museum. The British Museum. Kita niyo sa likod. It's free to go in, and I reckon maraming mga valuable art pieces and collection artifacts from all over the world. This is where they keep all those valuable items that they pillaged from around the world. Mga collections nila. So medyo in and out ang sun today, but hopefully on our last day here in London, we might have a glorious sunshine, and so that we can take some really nice photos. Broadcasting from the Vatican City, ready to rock Amsterdam in Stockholm, Sweden. My first day in Europe. Ganyan ang traffic dito sa Venice. Another beautiful day in Paris. So narito tayo ngayon sa British National Museum. It's actually free to get in here, but you just, they ask for donation. So if you're kind enough to make a donation, okay lang. Iniikot ko lang kayo kasi grabe yung dito. Yung glass facade dito. Yung glass house. It's very massive. Siguro comparable to the Louvre, which I've never been to. I've seen from the outside. I have photos from the outside. Katulad dito, meron akong photos dito. So, on this trip, since we really don't have a lot of time, bibisitahin natin yung Greek and Roman section. Because amongst all the exhibits here, that is the one that sparks the most interest. So, let's go have a look. And nakita ninyo yung glass. So massive. Alright, so total nandito sa British Museum at hindi ko naman linya to. Ipapaubaya na lang natin sa ating food diwata, si Katya Angara, ang pagkukwento sa inyo at pagga-guide sa inyo throughout this museum. After all, she is an art curator and art critic, so I will leave it up to her. Alright, there's the food diwata. What do you call the glass?
Well, I call it the atrium, Great Atrium. Actually, this is called the Great Court, this entire area.
The Great Court. It's
new addition.
It's like a quadrangle.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we go into the Greek and Roman collection?
Roman section. You see Alexander the Great.
What do we have here?
An Egyptian pharaoh. Many wonderful that is.
Since Katya is the art critic, I will let her do the talking.
All right.
Because, the only thing I can say is it's huge. Oh my God.
Well, okay. So what I've experienced of my past visit to the British Museum, it's divided into several areas, several sections. You have Africa, which includes Egypt. Right now we're in one of the Egyptian rooms. You can see several sarcophagi, which house the remains of several pharaohs and many members of royalty. You have a lot of artifacts like busts and tablets with hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics being the ancient carved language used by the Egyptians. And the Egyptians, as we know, they built magnificent monuments such as the Sphinx and the Great Pyramids of Egypt and Giza, among many others. You have Asia, of course, and then you have Greece and Rome, ancient Greece and Rome, which we are going to see after this. Okay, so to sum it up, the British Museum is a wonderful destination if you want to basically do a walkthrough around the wonders of the ancient world. Just a brief background though, when Great Britain was once Great Britain was probably the greatest world power of its time over a century ago. They went all around the world, of course, and then they had many colonies, and they collected, shall we say, it's a very diplomatic term, they collected many relics, artifacts, and art pieces from all around the world, which nowadays has caused something of a stir, and a lot of these countries want their artifacts back. So there is a bit of controversy surrounding that. At the same time, the question there also is, can these places actually be good wardens or take care of the artifacts once these are back in their original home countries? That's a question that begs to be answered. And as for, again, the British taking care of the artifacts, I think so far they've done a splendid job because the museums are wonderful. A little bit of trivia, the British Museum, what's on display now, is a tiny fraction of what is actually part of their collection. Most of it is in storage because if they were to display everything, well, the museum would have to be many times its size. Okay, well, that was a quick run through of history, and again, a homage to my roots here, because I've always loved going to museums and galleries, and the British Museum, I feel, is a testament and a symbol of, again, a once great empire and a study of history. It's very important to study history. This is the Greco-Roman, well, one of the Greco-Roman galleries, and it's a very fine collection of Greek and Roman statuary, carvings, wall carvings. Many of them are several hundreds of years old, so they definitely show their age. I remember coming here when I was a student I would sit down and sketch. I would draw because Greek and Roman sculptures make for wonderful anatomical models because the depictions are so precise, are so true to human anatomy, and that's one of my most cherished memories of being student here in London. I also remember going to the V&A, the Victoria and Albert Museum in South Kensington, for that. And also many wonderful examples of decorative art of the period through the centuries. And so we've gone through, we've seen also some very fine examples of Assyrian art, and we've seen some artifacts from the Parthenon in Greece, which we would have loved to see together, but I think Greece is not on our travelogue for now, at least not for myself, but someday soon. That's definitely on the bucket list. I am wrapping up our London travelogue. I've done my food Diwali segments. Steph has done his gigs, so that covers the music and the food, and we are now soaking up a little bit of London art and culture here at the British Museum, which is one of my favorite places in London to come and visit. Museums and galleries are in my blood. And this is something that I wish we had more of back home in the Philippines. Other places I can recommend, the Victoria and Albert Museum, the Tate Britain, Tate Modern, and there are National Maritime Museum in Greenwich, and so many more, not just the large museums, the large institutions. There are many smaller art galleries and destinations that all over the UK that I can highly recommend. Just look it up, the better guidebooks. You can also look it up online. They're everywhere, and the wonderful parks and gardens. London is a walking city. Don't forget that. You can quite easily get around just by walking. You can have a map of London on your phone, or you can buy a map. The underground is very easy to navigate once you get used to it. The bus system is wonderful, and you have overground trains linking you to all parts of the UK. Right? Have I missed anything else? Well, all in all, I can say we've really dipped our toes in, and I'm seeing London as a tourist after living here for almost 15 years and then coming back after so long. I'm seeing it with fresh eyes, and it's really it's an eye opener. It's illuminating. I never thought that I would see London again and come back here feeling refreshed and revived, and this being my second home. If I have time, maybe I'll stop by King's Cross to see my old alma mater, Central St. Martin's, one of the best art and design schools in the world. And I have to thank my family for bringing me here and sending me to school here, because I don't think I would trade this experience for anything else in the world. I come from a family of readers and lovers of history, and I wanted to make special mention of why museums are precious to me. It's because places like these are a walkthrough through history. Without having lived through those times, we can actually almost feel and experience what it was like for the people of the time. And here we are now, I'm looking at an Assyrian artifact, the Assyrian Empire of ancient Mesopotamia. And it came to mind that I thought about my own daughter Allegra and how she also loves to read. So the magical world that we read about in books comes alive in museums and galleries. And this, I think, is a very important experience, especially when they're young. You know, start them young, get them reading, and if you get the chance, take them to museums like this and let them experience the history of the world, because this is the way people throughout the ages tell their stories to us, and they have important lessons to impart. And this is something we can learn for ourselves now in the present, and perhaps for the future. As they say, if you don't learn from the mistakes of history, you're doomed to repeat them. So again, you know, a very valuable lesson to take away from studying history. It's never been more prescient than now. So this is your food diwata in London for Sabado nights with Stiff Blue. Whenever you get the chance, please come and visit Cool Britannia, and I hope to see you here. All right, cheers and rock on. Home of rock and roll.
So today is museum day, so we're here at the British National Museum with the food and the art diwata.
I wear some mats now.
Yeah, the art curator and art critic herself, Miss Katya Angara, on a semi-sunny and gloomy day here at the British National Museum for Sabado nights with Steve Blue. Hello, London! This is the day. Anong date na ba ngayon? October 26, Wednesday. This is the day where I'm leaving for Paris. And I just wanted to take you here to Victoria Station, where there are express trains to all airports. Like this one, we're going to take this to Gatwick Airport. So yeah, nandito tayo, direct trains to Gatwick. And this is Victoria Station, one of the busiest stations here in London. Isa pa yung King's Cross, isa pa yung Liverpool Station. So they have those, you know, these go farther out of outside of London, yung mga different suburbs and different cities outside of London. This is the station where they take off from. So pero pinakita ko lang sa inyo, interconnection siya. So kung pupunta ka ng airport, dito ka sasakay. Meron naman silang tube station na papuntang yung Piccadilly line goes all the way to Heathrow. So that's a tube station, so it goes all the way to Heathrow. Pero dito, kung pupunta ka ng Gatwick, which is down south, o may Luton pa, meron din trains pupuntang Stansted Airport from here, which is the train I took. Okay, so we took the Gatwick Express train from Victoria Station, as I told you earlier. Ito ngayon yung Gatwick Airport, South Terminal, and North Terminal. I just went past the self-check-in counter where you scan your barcode and then tag your own bag, and then you put it on the conveyor belt and it goes through and it scans, and then dito naman sa security you have to remove your shoes. Tapos kung nag-beep ka doon sa metal detector, you will be set aside to another line where you'll be scanned 360 degrees and a little bit more thorough, which I went through. And then yung, just like any other airport, security is a little bit more strict for your own safety din naman. So nandito na tayo sa loob ng security ng with pass security. I guess the next one would be passport control, since we're flying to Paris. Alright, see you in a bit.
So we're here at Gatwick Airport. We're flying to Paris in a couple of hours, and we decided to have a bit of a break and have something to eat. We are here at Itsu. It's a chain of fast casual Japanese restaurants, and quite a beautiful presentation actually. Have a look at that. Right, these are rice bowls. So we're having a teriyaki chicken and a Thai chicken rice bowl. And the utensils, well, you know, it's self-service. It comes from a utensil dispenser near the counter. And an important thing to note as well, I've noticed that a lot of places nowadays, cafes, restaurants, have gone cashless. So bear that in mind. You will need, it's useful to have a debit or a credit card on handy. Although my Philippine debit card doesn't always get accepted. More often than not it does, but I would highly recommend you have a credit card, or if you are here in the UK a lot, maybe think about getting a local card. Look at that tray, nice touch. And my favorite color, pink. It's all pink. And it comes with its own hoisin sauce. Here at the food area of Gatwick, this is after the departures area where they scan your luggage and they check your person. So after that, there's several boutiques, not just restaurants, but boutiques. Eating places, I can see from where I'm sitting, there's a Nando's, a Wagamama, Starbucks coffee, of course. I mean, they're everywhere in the Philippines. More locally, they have a Weatherspoon where we had a very light breakfast earlier of oatmeal, and Steph had a breakfast egg and bacon muffin, which looked rather nice actually. And what else? They had something called Wonder Tree and the Grain Store, which have burgers, breakfast food, sort of like the usual sort of like casual, easy dishes. Prices look like they range from between 10 and 17 pounds for main, which is actually kind of pricey, quite pricey. I think Weatherspoon may be around the same price range as well. Oh, and of course Pret. Pret is also, you know, they have a lot of takeaway food, sandwiches, yogurt pots, salads, cold entrees and appetizers to take away mostly, and they're all over the UK. Yeah, and you can do, like I said, a bit of shopping at the boutique. So if you need anything for your travel adapters, pillows, toiletries, books even. There's one of my favorites, W.H. Smith, for books and other supplies that you may need. But it seems like there's everything here. It's a much smaller airport than Heathrow, of course. But all in all, and something called Caviar House, which I forgot to mention, downstairs. I think they have champagne as well, so that is quite a posh stopover for you if that's something that you fancy. Okay, well, wrapping up, we're gonna tuck in soon before the food gets cold. So this has been your food diwata and food correspondent reporting from Gatwick Airport. This is for SABADO Nights with Steph signing off.
So, ito na ang last stop natin. Medyo magda-dine lang tayo ng konti sa Itsu because we have an afternoon flight, a 1 p.m. flight. So, we're gonna have lunch. It's a relatively small airport, pero mas malaki yata siya sa Terminal 3 na sa NAIA Terminal 3. Anyway, ito po si Steve Lu, bumabati sa inyo galing sa London at nagpapaalam para dito sa London episode ng Sabado Nights with Steve Lu. Au revoir, London.
Au revoir, London.
Bonjour, Paris.
Bonjour, Paris. Yay!
See you, Paris, in a little while.
See you in a bit.
Maraming salamat sa inyong pagsubaybay dito sa Sabado Nights with Steve Lu Europe Edition. Yan po ang katapusan nitong UK episode natin. At abangan ang susunod na episode nung tumulak tayo papuntang Paris. Kasama pa rin po natin ang food diwata at the beautiful and sexy Bunny Liwanag. Alright!